Hey guys, my name is Kamran Waziir, and in this video we're going to talk about how to make this VFX in Blender. We're going to do it step by step so you will not miss out anything. So first of all, we're going to convert the video into the PNG sequence. I'll put the link to the video in the description down below. So let's go to video editing workspace, and we will import our image by going to add movie clip. Click it and go ahead to the directory where you do have the video file that you want to convert into PNG. I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit add movie strip, and it's going to add it into the timeline. So now we'll set the ending frame to something like 200 maybe, because the footage is 200 frames. So first of all, the resolution is okay. Under transform, I'm gonna rotate it on 90-degree. Why I'm doing this? Because it makes problem while doing tracking vertically, and I tried it many times but I failed. So I'm gonna make the scale to 1.5 so it fits in the frame. And you have to do this step because you will not be able to track the motion vertically. I'm gonna set the ending to 200. I'm gonna set the output location to somewhere in the directory where we do had the video. So I'm gonna create a new folder. Here I have already exported the PNG sequence. So I'm gonna click PNG. I'm gonna go to render and render out the animation, but I already did. So I'm just showing you how to do it. So under file, new, I'm gonna open up VFX workspace. So we can then add our exported PNG sequence into VFX tab. So I'm gonna hit open to open up the PNG sequence that we just exported from video editor. Okay, so go ahead. Here we have the PNG folder. Here are the PNGs that we just exported from Blender. I'm gonna select all of them and I'm gonna click open clip. So the clip will be opened, and here you can see it is perfectly oriented. So I'm gonna change the ending to 200. So under render, under color management, I'm gonna change these from AGX to standard. It will again the original colors. So I'm gonna click prefetch to load the footage into the RAM so it plays smoothly. I'm gonna set the pattern size and pattern search size, which actually determines the tracker size. If the tracker size is big, it's going to accurately track the motion. So I'm gonna set the search size to 100 and a pattern size to 50. Yeah, under annotation, I'm gonna click draw, and I will draw the line where I want the tracker. I'm gonna erase it because I didn't like it. I'm gonna click draw again. I'm gonna just draw around the area that I want to motion track. So I'm gonna draw around these, and I will meet those ending and starting to here. Under track, I'm gonna click detect features. As you can see, it's added some trackers outside the frame. So expand the window. I'm gonna change for whole frame to inside annotated area. It will just create the tracker inside this area. So I'm gonna make the threshold to 0, and I'm gonna decrease the distance between them so we get enough trackers. So now it's time to click track forward, and it will start tracking it forward. And as you can see, it's perfectly doing its job. Again, click detect features. I'm going to track it backward so we get enough data to work with while solving the camera. So I'm going to go to solve. We got different options. We got tripod. If you shot with tripod, you can turn it on, but right now it's a drone footage. We got keyframe A and keyframe B, which in fact determines the perspective change between two frames. Like for example, there is a change between the keyframe 40, which is the frame 40, until 130. Here is a change, perspective change in between those. So select the perfect one. You can also click keyframe if you want to computer automatically do this job for you. You got focal length, optical center, and radial distortion. If you know it, just put it in camera section right here, but I'm gonna turn them on because I don't know. So I'm gonna click solve camera motion. Okay, so it's going to refine the solution. Let's see what we get. We got an error of 0.49 with yellow error, which means that it's not perfect. We gotta make it blue so it shows that it's perfect. I'm gonna click filter tracks. I'm gonna make the threshold value to 2 maybe. I'm gonna hit X and delete those trackers. Again, solve camera motion. If we get perfect result, we're gonna go for it, but if we don't, we're gonna redo the filtering again and again until we get a perfect error. So again, I'm going to click clean tracks. I'm going to select, I'm going to bring the reprojection error to 0.980. I'm going to hit X and delete them. Solve camera motion. Again, just do it again and again because it's not an accurate value that you just put in. You just have to try it again until you find something better. So again, I'm going to click filter track. I'm going to make the threshold value to 2.27 and delete those tracker. I'm going to click solve camera motion. We got a huge error. Again, if you click, oh, it's not working. So I'm going to click filter track again. I'm going to decrease the track threshold to 1.97, X delete, solve camera motion, and again filter track because it's actually deleting all of those trash tracks that are messing up the solve. So again, I'm going to click clean tracks. I'm going to make the reprojection error to uh, 17x delete, solve camera motion. Again, it's going to refine the solution. Again, it's very bad, so we have to do this process again. I'm just showing you why it is very important to just clean up again and again. Okay, so I think this time we got an error of 0.23, which is the perfect one, and you just have to stick up with that because it's extremely perfect. So I'm going to click, there are different options. I'm going to click setup tracking scene. It's going to add a cube and a plan in the scene, which is not perfectly oriented as the footage. And now what we gotta do, we are going to select 3 of the trackers from the ground. I'm going to select 3 of them so we can assign it as a floor. I'm going to click floor. As you can see, it's oriented the same way that we want, as you can see, but it's not perfectly done. We can do it manually, but right now I'm going to click set origin to have maybe I can set the x-axis like that, and I think that's fine. Yeah, I'm going to set x-axis, and I think that's doing a good job. I'm going to click plus. Under general, I'm going to click layout. Okay, so I'm going to open up a new window by dragging this. I'm going to go to camera view in that window, select the camera, go to camera setting, under background image. I'm going to increase the opacity to something like 1. Okay, so right now I'm going to turn on the motion tracking in overlays so we can see where are the motion trackers so we can reconstruct the scene. I'm also going to turn on motion tracker for the other window so we will be able to see it. I'm going to go again and again increase the size of the trackers so we can see them where they are in the scene. So now I think we need to assign it manually because the automatic way was not a perfect way. So I'm going to hit Alt R to reset the rotation. I'm going to rotate it like that. Maybe rotate and try to align the tracker with the x-axis like that. I'm gonna move it towards x-axis so the cube fits in there like that, but it's not working. So I'm gonna select 2 trackers. I want the cube to be here, so let's just go to z-axis like that. Just move forward. We will assign the plan in between those 2 trackers. That is why we selected them so we can see where are they. So I think that is fine, and I'm going to select the camera, and I'm going to change the transform pivot point to 3D cursor. And now you can rotate your camera by the 3D cursor, so we're going to rotate it on the z-axis. So in fact, we're trying to align the x-axis with the real video. Like, as you can see, I'm going to delete the cube right now. I'm going to select the camera again. I'm slightly going to rotate it on z-axis so they align it with this line. I think that is totally fine. I'm going to scale it on x-axis like that. And now what we can do, we can play it and see. And as you can see, the magic is happening. It's perfectly sticking into the ground. Now you can add your stuff, but before adding anything, I'm gonna save the file by hitting Ctrl S, rename it to something like Dior, I think. Yeah, because I'm gonna add their product into the perfume model. I'm gonna save the Blender file. Okay, so here we go. There are foreground and background, and also foreground and background layers. I'm going to select those 2 objects in the background collection. I'm going to hit M and move them to foreground. I'm going to delete the background collection. I'm going to select background layer and delete it. So we just have foreground layer, which is not going to make any problem. So we just need to stick up with that. We're going to scale it on y-axis like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna add a cube. Let's replicate the pyramid. Maybe I'm gonna add a cube here. I'm going to scale it up. We're just trying to reconstruct the pyramid from a cube, so let's do it right away. I'm gonna move it on the on y-axis, so it's on the side on the perfect location. I'm gonna move it up like that, so it touches the ground. I'm gonna scale it on x and y axis. So here it follow the. I'm gonna select the top vertices. I'm gonna scale them down. You can see in the other window, we're going to align it with the pyramid. I'm just gonna move it like that. I'm gonna move it towards the x-axis. I'm gonna select the top vertices and I'm gonna move them. I'm gonna hit Control B, but in object mode, hit Control A to apply the scale, and edit mode, Control B to bevel it. So it's in fact we're trying to infect the to copy the shape of the pyramid into the cube. So we're just trying to fit the cube with pyramid, so the shadows on the pyramid will act realistically. So I'm just trying to move those vertices so it matches the background like that, and I think that's looking good. I love it because it does look good. So if you now play it, it's going to follow the pyramid, and this is what we wanted. Now you can add your silly product if you want. You can just do whatever you want to do with it. Okay, so I'm gonna import a Dior model. I will put the link to the same model in the description down below if you want to use it. It's from Sketchfab. I forgot the name of the artist, but thanks for the model. Okay, so select one object, hit Control J to join it, and as you can see, hit Alt P to clear the parents, because when you download from Sketchfab, you got so many empties. You just need to clear the parents by hitting Alt P. So okay, so I'm gonna move it towards upward, set to 3D cursor, and right click. I'm gonna scale it down like that, and I think that is fine. I'm gonna move it towards y-axis like that. Okay, so I'm just trying to find a best location where I can add this product. I think this is a good one. Okay, so what we need to do, I'm gonna slightly move it up so it's not intersecting with the ground so much. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this layer. It was an extra that I added before. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the ground so we can see if it's not sliding, and I think it is perfectly sticking into there, and this is what we wanted. I'm gonna save it. Okay, yeah, it is working fine. Now it's time to add some cloth simulation into it. So first of all, we need the helicopter model, which will reveal the product. I found that model from Sketchfab. I'll put the link to the same model in the description down below if you want to use it. It's a cool model. Shout out to Blumesh, and I'm going to download it as a GLB file. I think it can contain a Blender file. Okay, so we have imported our helicopter into the scene. So we're going to select everything, select hierarchy, Control C, copy the objects, go to the other scene, Control V, and paste the object there by hitting Control V. Here we go, we got a plan. Okay, so not a plan, sorry, helicopter. I'm sorry about that because it's named like a plan there in the. Okay, so I'm gonna scale it like that, and I'm gonna expand the window. We're going to animate it. It have a default animation, but I'm not gonna go for it. So I'm gonna select all. So I'm gonna hit I. I'm gonna add a rotation keyframe into that part. I will go into 103rd frame. I'll go to item. Yeah, it's XYZ error. So I'm gonna go to 100 maybe. I'm gonna rotate it on the Z-axis on that direction, extremely like minus 1000. I'm gonna hit I for rotation. If you play it, it starts slow, but I'm gonna hit T. I'm gonna hit linear. It's going to be linear from the beginning to the end, and this is what we wanted. Linear extrapolation by hitting Shift T. I think linear extrapolation not working. I don't know why is that, because I think there is a problem with linear extrapolation. I think the person added something else into it. That is why linear extrapolation doesn't work. So we're going to animate these manually by going to the ending frame. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select the end keyframe. I will move it to frame number 200. I'm going to rotate it on the Z-axis, like minus 1000 maybe. I'm gonna hit I for rotation. And now if you play it, as you can see, it's perfectly rotating and it is the same speed that we want. Okay, so right now it's time to animate the helicopter. I'm gonna slightly scale it down like that. I'm gonna go to top view and I'm gonna slightly move it down, something like this. I'm gonna open up a new window. I will go to camera view so I can see what is going on. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to hit R location and rotation keyframe by hitting I. I'm gonna click R to rotate it. I'm gonna move it slightly, just a tad, not so much. Location and rotation keyframe. As you can see, it slowly tries to move. When it reaches the frame number 200, it's going to extremely move towards y-axis like that. And we are going to click location and rotation by hitting I. I'm going to slightly move it towards the pyramid because I want the cloth to intersect or to interact with the pyramid, and we need to move the helicopter over the pyramid. Again, location and rotation keyframe. As you can see, we got a perfect animation. It's not a very perfect animation, but it's work for us, and I really don't care if you don't like it. Okay, so right now, if you select all of them, I'm going to hit T linear, so it's linearly moving with the time. Okay, so right now it's time to click Shift A, cursor to selected. I'm gonna add a plan. It's time to add the cloth simulation. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna slightly move it down like that, and I'm going to go apply the scale by hitting Control A. In edit mode, I'm gonna subdivide it many times so we get enough geometry to work with. So I'm gonna zoom in like that. I'm gonna go to face selection mode. I'm going to select many faces. I'm gonna hit C to select multiple faces like that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new vertex group in the object data, and I'm going to click assign to assign it with the, I'm going to click F3 and search for hook to new object. It will create an empty which is hooked into the vertices. If you move the empty, the vertices is going to follow the same object, and this is what we wanted. Okay, so right now I'm going to select the cloth under cloth settings. I'm going to select the bottle first. Under physics, I'm going to create a collision into it. I'm going to turn on the ground. I will add collision into it also. And now under physics, it's added collision. Okay, I'm going to select the cloth and I'm going to scale it slightly up. I'm going to click cloth. I will scroll down. I will go under shape. In physics, shape, and select the pin group. Under collision, select self collision so it collide with itself also. Okay, so if you play it, okay, so I'm gonna set the simulation start to -50 and I'm gonna click back. So let's see what we get here. I'm gonna pause the video and restart it again. Okay, so we got an animation, but it's not following the helicopter. The main reason is because the empty is not parented to helicopter. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna delete the back first, and I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna share it smooth, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hit delete back, select the empty, and then Control Z because I just wanna undo it. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we are going to hit Control Z many times. I'm gonna select the empty, then the helicopter, Control P, keep offset. So the empty will follow the helicopter movement. I'm going to select the cloth. I will scroll down. I'm going to set the simulation start to -80. I'm going to select the end to 200. I'm going to click back. It started baking and it's going to work this time. And as you can see, if you go into physics, I'm going to hit delete back again. I'm going to rebake it. I don't know, I skipped it in between, but okay. So right now, if we just play it, under modify, try to add the hook at the top and cloth at the bottom. It will not make any problem. Okay, so if you play it, as you can see, it's doing its job. But if you still got any problem, just let me know in the comment section below, because sometimes you get problem. Okay, so it's not interacting with the pyramid. So what we need to do, I'm going to go to x-axis, then move out of x-axis. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's not interacting with the pyramid. I'm going to add a collision physics into the pyramid so the cloth will be able to interact with the pyramid. I'm going to delete the back. I'm going to click back so it will reback the simulation. As you can see now, it's interacting. If you go to camera view, and I'm going to go to render or material view, I'm going to hide this thing maybe. I'm going to go under object data. Under visibility, we are in EV. We're going to change it to cycles because cycles is great. I'm going to change it to GPU compute, turn on the noise. Under object data, under visibility, I'm going to check shadow catcher for the pyramid. Also do the same for the ground object. So if you go to render view, I'm going to save the file. Okay, so under render setting, under film, I'm going to click transparent so the background will be transparent. Okay, so the lighting is off. We're going to set the lighting. Okay, so what I'm going to do under film, it's transparent. I'm gonna add an environment texture. I'm gonna go ahead to the directory where I do save the environment textures. I will also put the link to the HDRI that I'm using in this video. Okay, so we are in world. I'm gonna hit Control T, so it brings up mapping and texture coordinate node. I'm gonna go to material view. I'm going to turn on scene world and scene lights like that, so we will be able to see the HDRI. So we want that the HDRI, the light comes from that side. So I'm going to rotate it on Z-axis like that. So the sun is coming from that way. If you go to render view, as you can see, it's perfectly casting the shadows, and this is what we wanted. You can play around with the strength of it, but I'm gonna leave it at 1 because 1 is perfect. And I think we can remove it if you want. You can add your manual sun if you don't want. Just it's totally up to you. Like it's literally you can control every single parameter if you want. I'm going to rotate it like that. As you can see, it's very harsh. We can make it smoother if we do want. I'm not gonna make it very long. Under settings of the sun, I'm gonna increase the strength of the sun if you do want. And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna select these yellowish color for the sun. I'm gonna decrease the saturation level so it's not very high. I'm gonna increase the strength. Okay, so I think the shadows are very harsh. In order to reduce the harshness of shadows, what you can do I'm gonna add a material into the plane and also the pyramid, which is going to be a yellowish material. Okay, right now I'm really sleepy. I don't know how to speak perfectly. And okay, so right now it's doing its job. You can add HDRI if you do want because the sun is looking very off, but I will give you the link to HDRI which is going to fix the problem. I'm not going to go to very detail in it because it is a very easy thing to do. Okay, so I'm going to add another environment texture. So in fact, why we are adding HDRI? Because there are some real environment that will interact with the bottle, which will look really cool. In fact, so I'm going to hit Control T again. It's a node wrangler, which is an add-on you can turn on to get this mapping and texture coordinate node by hitting Control T. Okay, so right now I'm going to set up the sun angle. It's not right. I'm going to rotate it on Z-axis like that. Under camera view, I'm going to go to render. And as you can see, we got some smoother shadows, and this is what we wanted. I'm gonna set the strength to 0.2, but the shadows get very harsh. We can increase it in order to make the shadows smoother. I'm gonna select the sun. I'm gonna delete the environment again. I really don't know what lighting setup will be great for this scene, but you can try any sort of HDRI. I'm gonna increase the angle so in order to make the shadows smoother, like that. Okay, so I'm gonna increase the strength. I think it's look very off. It will be good to go for an HDR. Again, I'm just increasing the color of the world to make everything look white. But I think that is fine. That is totally fine. I am recommending the HDRI because HDRI look really cool. Nothing can look good than HDRI. I'm just trying something that works for me, but I don't think it will work for me. So you can just go for your own choice of HDRI that you want to use and set up the lighting, because I don't want to force you to do whatever I do in my viewport, you know. So I think that is fine. That is totally fine. I may change it later on for the final render, but I'm not gonna record it because it might take me some time and you're not sticking up to the end of the video. That is why what I'm going to do, I'm just trying some very bad stuff. Okay, so it's time to set some compositing stuff, I think. That is totally fine. I'm gonna go to solid mode under render. I'm gonna set the max samples to 50. I'm gonna set the output to MPEG 4 and select a location. Under compositing, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select all the other nodes and hit X to delete them. We just leave with compositing viewer node. I'm gonna add a movie clip. I'm going to add a render layers. I'm gonna add an alpha over node. By searching it, I'm gonna connect the video to the top socket and the render to the bottom one, and image to both compositing viewer node. So now if you render out the image, it is going to be the same that we want. It's rendering right now. So guys, it's going to work, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Consider subscribe, share this video with your friend if you do want, do a comment if you have any question, and see you next time.